Hello everyone, welcome. Today I'm going to show you my stitching spot as I had a request to see it. So here we go. I am short, so I keep myself propped up well with cushions, and I have one here because I stitch two-handed with my left hand on top. So I got my stack of cushions here so that when I stitch it's resting, it's not uncomfortable. The most important thing I found when you want to stitch for long periods without getting pain is to make sure that you have it so that you're bringing your work to yourself instead of bending over yourself to your work. So to do that, my floor stand didn't want to quite fit, the legs didn't want to quite fit underneath the couch. So what I did was I went and I bought those little foam feet you can get at the hardware store. They're like a couple dollars for like 12 of them. I stuck a couple to each foot on the couch, raised it about 1/4 of an inch, and then it was just enough that I can just tuck the stand right up to me like this. So I bring the work right to myself so that I'm not hunching over my work, giving myself back or neck pain. This stand was the one that I got from Michael's. It was just like their no-name stand. And it actually can spin 360 degrees so you can access the back of your work. I actually learned techniques that I'll show you in other videos, how to start and end your threads from the front so that you basically almost never have to turn your work. But the nice thing is that way I keep this tilted at a little bit of an angle so that I'm not having to hold my arm up in an uncomfortable position. I can rest it here and work more naturally, which is really nice. The stand was very reasonably priced. It was about $60, but I waited until I had a 50% off coupon, so I got it for 30 bucks, which is very affordable. The bolts that came with it were not great. I found when I tried to tighten them, they just would not tighten. They'd almost want to strip. And then sometimes you're stitching and the whole thing would just collapse into your lap, which is very annoying. So I went to the hardware store and I went and I bought some better bolts and these butterfly nuts. It was maybe $2 to get enough bolts to replace everything. So it was very affordable. And then I just had my husband drill the holes that were in this stand a little bit bigger so they could fit. And then I can tighten these great, even with pliers, to get them as tight as I wanted. It never collapses on me again, which is awesome. I use, as you can see, a qsnap, an 11x17 qsnap for my work. Because it's round, I found that sometimes it would roll in the frame and kind of collapse, which was annoying. So to fix that was a very simple fix. I went and I got a ruler, just a wooden ruler. They already have holes drilled in them. I just threaded one ruler onto this bolt, sort of, and then put the top bolt on top and then have it in the clamp frame. And this little bulldog clip kind of keeps it flat. And it just rests along the edge of the work there and keeps it from rolling. You could put one over here too, but I found it got in my way, and then one on the one side was sufficient. It doesn't get in my way and it keeps it from ever just rolling while you're working on it, which is just awesome. So, because I didn't really feel like investing a ton in a stand, so I figured out ways to make it work for me. So also the nice thing is I have this here. I can keep my working tray of colors. When I'm working on a section, I keep them here, which makes it easy to use. And then, as I showed my other video, I have my other colors here in envelopes. Really easy to just find it, pull the one you want, slide it back when you're done. Keep it over there, and then I have my little jar here where I put all my little thread ends when I snip them so that they're not all over the floor, and throw them away at the end. So to stitch, I use Pattern Keeper for Android. This is a Kindle Fire tablet. You kind of have to find, there's a way around it, which is actually quite easy. There's just a few files you have to install, and then you can access the Google Play Store from it and get it on your tablet. And it is an absolutely wonderful app. I can't recommend it enough. It's almost doubled my output because I'm no longer having to search through my color key, trying to find that symbol, which you know is there, but you can't seem to find it, right? Because now you just, when you tap a symbol, it shows up right there what color you need, boom. You don't have to look for it anymore. It's just absolutely wonderful. It's got the full searchability. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see from there, but I can mark where I've parked stuff. I would not attempt to stitch a full coverage piece without this anymore. It is just indispensable. So there you have it. That's my stitching spot. Let me know what yours looks like. Thanks, everybody.